Morning guys, it is 11:30 on Sunday morning. Today is it's 17th of February. Where has February gone? It's so scary. I just realised let me just knock that off I don't think you'll be able to see the pattern, but it's on there ready to go. So today I am working on my Persephone Mirabilia piece, and I just thought I should do a little bit of work on her. Firstly, I just want to say thank you to everybody for your support with the chatelaine. I've thoroughly enjoyed working on it. I did toy with doing the stitch with me with it, but I packed it away a couple of days ago and wrapped it all in a pillowcase, and I thought, having worked on it for a week, I really should have a look at some of my other projects really. So I do need to work on Persephone for this month as well, so sorry. But thank you for all of your support. I will do a stitch with me. My next stitch with me will be on the chatelaine, that much I promise. And I have had a few questions in and around that in particular, which one of them I probably will be able to address. So the question related to maybe doing a bead with me or showing how I bead. Now there is obviously a lot of bead work on this, but I won't be putting that in for a good while. But I may come and do a bit of beading with the chatelaine. Now I'm not saying I'm an expert beader on cross stitch by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm more than happy to share how I'll do it. So perhaps next stitch with me there might be a little bit of that. We'll see, we'll go with the flow. But today I just wanted to work on Persephone with you. So I'm stitching her on, this is a hand-dyed fabric by Kate at Sparkleys. This is called Slightly Nutty. It's a 28 count opalescent Murano. No, it's a 32 count opalescent Murano. So I'm stitching her 2/2 with DMC, so it'll work out the same size as a 16 count when it's done. So I'm going to be working in and around this area here, so it's fairly straightforward in terms of cross stitching. There won't be a lot of counting that I need to do, so that's good in a stitch with me, isn't it? I know last time I worked on a Heaven and Earth, and yeah, it's a little bit more challenging anyway, but I'm just going to go ahead and thread up my needle. So how are you all? Is everybody good? I hope so. I'm doing well at the moment. Multiple elements of my life, which, as you know, I'm just going to put my mag eyes on, because if anybody's interested, these are my mag eyes. I got these relatively cheaply offline. Can't quite remember where. If I can remember, I'll put the link in the comments box below, but they come with a couple of I think there was 2 different magnification options. I cannot do a thing without these. It doesn't seem to matter what count I work on. I'm absolutely addicted to them. So I don't know whether I'm doing more damage to my eyes by wearing them or not really. Anyway, threading up, retrieving my needle. So I've also had a few questions which relate to the fact that if I do my updates, I seem to leave my needles stuck in the fabric and not on the needle minders. I do that. I don't know whether you can see the fur monster down this side of me here. So she's down there. So Daisy's curled up next to me. I'm hoping she'll stay quiet. I do that because of her. So Daisy has a habit of kind of running into things, knocking things over. I have lost a needle, which I have yet to find, because Daisy's ran into the cross stitching frame. And yeah, she also has a habit of throwing her toys around as well, which is fine, but then, I'm always worried that she'll dislodge the needle, end up either standing on it or swallowing it. So that's the reason why you'll often see a couple of needles tucked into the fabric. And then what I'll do is, as I fold them away, I'll put the needle minders on. I'll put the needles on the needle minders, so I don't leave them stuck in. I've had a few people comment about that. I have had instances in the past where I'd left a piece not stitched on for a long time and the needle has rusted into it. It was actually a mirror, I think it was Winter Queen, and it's just rusted all over the white fabric and some of the white stitches. So yeah, I wouldn't leave them in long term. So I'm stitching on my El Bessie lap stand today, and a few people have said, oh, it'll be interesting to see how it works and how you get to the back of the work, but it's just a case of literally flipping it over and pulling it down. So I'll be doing a little bit of that probably today as I anchor in and tie off new threads. So I'm going to zoom you in. Let's see if I can zoom you in smoothly without making everybody feel seasick. I'm going to push it back a little bit because I am going to be working around there. See if I can zoom you in one more. Yeah, I can. I should have had a cushion behind my back just to support me and lift me forward a bit, but it's okay, we can manage. I'm not going to be here all day, am I? So, it's not the most comfortable thing always doing a stitch with me. So just to give you a frame of reference on the pattern, I am working somewhere in and around here. I'm not 100% sure. I think I might be, I think I'm probably somewhere on her knee. The birds are going full throttle today, as you can no doubt hear. I think the sunshine, we've had some good weather this weekend actually in the UK. It's been lovely. So I had a nice walk out with Daisy yesterday, and I'll be doing the same in an hour or so. I'm waiting for my parents to call because we're going to be taking Daisy out. So I'm just using the standard loop method that I uploaded a video on not that long ago. And then I always railroad the top leg of the stitch, which I'm doing now, which you sort of go in and split the two threads and go in the middle of them, and it just makes everything lay that little bit neater. I do both legs when I stitch with white DMC, as I mentioned in that upload, but any other colour, I just do the top leg. And I don't know what it is about white DMC, and I've said this multiple times, it just lays very strangely, and it has a different type of texture to me too. A lot of the other colours, but hey ho. So a bit of a life update since I last did a stitch with me. So I think as I was doing the stitch with me before, I was about to go away with work. That went very well. It's always one of those things. I don't dread going. I never dread going away with work. It's just, I don't know. I'm a bit of a home bird, but once I get there, I have a whale of a time. And, to be honest, on the last evening, I was last in the bar. There was a couple of us left. Went to bed about, I think I got into bed about 3:30 and was up at 6:30. Didn't drink a lot, but I don't really drink at all. So anything more than 0 is a reasonable amount to me. So I do firmly believe that when I actually got up for work at 6:30, I was still probably slightly intoxicated. And then obviously I had a full day of presentations with my team because it was team regional time, which they'd put in strategically to make sure that everybody had had the opportunity who'd had a drink to sober up, which at the time I was thinking, oh my God, why don't they just let us go? But in hindsight, I think it was a very smart move on their part, and I was given up until like 2:30 to really make sure I was absolutely fine, and then I drove home. But I mean, when I was saying I had a drink, I had a couple of glasses of wine and a Peroni. I think that was it. And obviously for somebody who really has no tolerance to alcohol, that's a lot more than would be normal for me. But we had a great time. So the first morning I arrived and we were running a training session, and this is for one of the projects I've been working on for a long time, and I've mentioned it before. It's this key account management thing that I've been sort of given the opportunity to lead on, and it's been great. And we were rolling out a new platform for the team to use out when they're out working, just so they can monitor the progress of their account plans and really adopt the kind of behaviours that we want to see in and around it. So it was good. That was fine. And there was an opening plenary session, which my line manager was as far as we were aware, leading on. So anyway, I arrived on the morning of the first day, and my boss is looking for me, and she's like, oh, we need to probably touch base before, you know, we do the plenary. I'm like, oh right, I just assumed that was your session. She's like, oh, well, I'll do a little bit of a kick-off, but yeah, have you done any slides for it, like an opening presentation? I was like, no, because nobody asked me to. I thought you were leading on that session. She's like, oh yeah, no, I'm happy to lead on it. She said, what do you want me to say when I'm up there? So I gave her a debrief in terms of, you know, what were the important points that she probably needed to pull out during her up front. And then she said, oh, well, you come up front with me, you get mic'd up as well, and you can sort of do the room allocation bit if you want. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, if you need me to come up front, I'm more than happy, but do you need me? And she's like, oh, yeah, just get mic'd up. So I'd forgotten my slip, or like a petticoat slip that goes underneath my dress. So I had to make sure first that when I was getting up front, people couldn't see straight through my dress. So I was okay, you know, absolutely fine. So my boss like literally gets on the stage, says, I don't know, maybe the equivalent of half a dozen words, and then hands over to me, completely unprepared. And then I get up in front of 200 people. You know me, I mean, I'm not shy, as you've probably gathered by these videos. I mean, I can talk, you know what I mean? It's not a problem. However, I have very little recollection of what actually came out of my mouth during the time I was up front. I really don't know. So I get up front, and then we have a team of, well, it's literally a production bureau who work with us, who do all of the staging, the lighting. So you're up on a stage, fully lit, spotlit, and they record. Sorry, I need to rethread. It's just slipped. I'll try and keep my head out of shot. I don't think my head got that low. Just while I rethread my needle. Bear with me one moment, I cannot multitask. It's not gonna happen. Let's have a look. I think I might have to trim it to get it through. No, we're done. Lovely. So yeah, I was saying these guys do all of the staging, the lighting, they record, they take photographs, just about everything, because they keep obviously documentation of the event, and we usually get some pictures sent out. So when I get the pictures, I will share them with you. So I get up front thinking, cheers for that, boss. You know, she did throw me under the bus a bit, to be fair. So I get up, and then immediately to the left of me is a cameraman who then proceeds to fire off a load of like flashy photographic shots right near my face. So I've got him clicking away, and this is not like a quiet camera. This is like clicking in my ear, and I'm trying to like hold it together, trying to think what on earth's going to come out of my mouth, and then just verbally vomited on the stage. So yeah, I mean, as I said, every now and again something would come back to me in terms of what I said. I think I made a reasonable amount of sense. I just think it came out of my mouth faster than the delivery I would have liked had I had an opportunity to prepare for it. So that was quite funny. I remember speaking to a couple of colleagues and saying, you know, what did I say? Did I sound all right? They were like, oh yeah, no, it was good. You're very passionate about the whole topic, aren't you? And things like that. So, honestly, I dread to think. So if we get any pictures, I will show you. So anyway, one of the really nice things while we were getting ready to go up front, so there's me and my boss in the room together getting mic'd up before the other guys were allowed into the room. So we went down front just so we could get up and access the stage quickly. And she'd said to me, oh, just to let you know, you're in my top 2 for the managers. You've made top 2. And I was just like, oh, wow. You know, when you just, a bit taken away. She said, yeah, she said, you've worked incredibly hard. You've done some really wonderful things last year. And I did. You know, when you look back and you think, I've just done it again with a needle. Hang on a minute, I was going to trim this. And you know, you think, actually, even when I had my end of year review, I sort of sat there and thought, wow, have I achieved this in a year? And it's not, it's everything. It's how I've managed my team, the development that I've given my team and opportunities I've provided for them. I exited a really, really long-term underperformer last year, which, you know, that had been going on for quite some time, because our company is just really, I think it's like every global company, just very risk averse. And, you know, you kind of pushing a big pile of poo uphill in terms of exiting somebody, and often the momentum's with them as individuals. You know, they're quite well protected. And sorry, I'm having a real nightmare threading this. Let me just concentrate on it. There you are. The minute I concentrate, nope. I'm getting quite near the end of the thread, you see, but I'm quite adamant it's going in. My will is greater than that of the thread right now. So yeah, it's quite difficult to exit people. So I'd done that with, you know, really good management and integrity, to be honest. And then even from a business perspective, you know, we're doing really well from a business perspective. So our business is growing very, very nicely. And yeah, I do feel as though I have done well. And she said to me, obviously, you know, that success will be rewarded in your, you know, your pay rise, which will kick in April's salary. So I was just, you know, you're just chuffed, really, really pleased that the work you've put in and the effort you've put in, and I do, you know, I really do. I'm just going to flip this back. Sorry, I'm out of frame and you can't see it, but it's either you can see me tying off the back of the work, or you can see me stitching, and I think the stitching's more important, to be honest. So I was so pleased. And then obviously I've mentioned about going for my senior leveling to you guys. I'll just back up while I rethread. And she was like, absolutely, I would want you to go for your senior management level. So that involves me collating examples of how I've worked within specific behaviours that managers are supposed to exhibit in our organisation. So I need to work on those. And obviously you get the title of senior manager, and a kind of a financial token reward for that. Obviously more responsibility, more work. No pay rise associated with it. You just get like a one-off payment, which actually would buy me my Peloton bike. so I'm thinking to myself, I could get a Peloton bike and and obviously get the senior leveling. I mean, the actual title's more important to me than anything else. But yeah, so hopefully all being well, as of the beginning of April, I should be able to tell you whether or not I've been successful. I'm just going to mark off these stitches so I don't get myself overly lost. So that was nice, and it's just nice to get a bit of recognition so you know that what you do is noticed. Because the problem for me, I live in the north of the UK, as you know, and our head office is based in North London. So, you know, my opportunities to get to the office are not that frequent. It's only when I have to that I go. So it's not like I'm going to turn up and just think, oh, I'm going to go and have a day in Uxbridge, because I just wouldn't. It's too far away. It's just too far away for me. And, you know, my time with my team is, you know, to me, and maybe it's right or wrong, I don't know, more important. But you have to have a reason to be there. I wouldn't just like pitch up and, you know, take a hot desk over and just sort of sit and do my admin there every day. It's different if you're local. You know, you could do, but I can't because I'm too far away. But it's good to know that even though, you know, there is quite a bit of, you know, geographical difference, you know, in terms of where I live, I still get noticed, which is great. So So that's it. So it looks like if I get my examples pulled together, I could get promoted. I'm in the top 2 out of 10 business managers, which is brilliant. And we have some like business managers within our organisation who are already senior. So, you know, to be up against those guys who have been, a lot of them have been there many years. I've been there 3.5 at this point. It's good. So I've obviously, you know, proven myself over the years, and just have to stay there now, don't I? You know. So I've not officially been told what the new package for the new year looks like yet, but I should be having a conversation with my manager pretty soon, I would think. So there you go. So that's work. Yeah, the night of the final night of the conference, we did Greece. It was an absolute riot. So obviously, as you know, I went as a pink lady. I've got a picture somewhere. If I remember, I'll put one in for you. Often when I edit, I forget to put things like that in, and if I do, I'll show you again at some point. But I did the pink lady, and then what the guys decided to do was switch gender up. So a couple of my team swapped gender. So Matt went as Sandy, and Beth went as Danny, which was absolutely hilarious. So you can imagine one of my team running around with a big blonde wig on. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And that night, I don't think I'd ever laughed so much in my life. And you know, when you sit there with your team and you're having a hoot, they'd put on a karaoke. Well, we got up and did Grease naturally. I mean, obviously none of us could sing, but it was just funny. It was just really, really funny. And you know, when you just sort of look at your team and you're like, oh my God, I love you. Honestly, I'm such a mother hen with them. I mean, technically with some of them, I am old enough now to be their mother. And you know, you just look at them and they're like my little chicks. Honestly, I love them all dearly. And yeah, we had such a good time. And you know, when you just really, really bond as a group, and it was just great. We just had a real riot, and we were in the photo booth getting mad photographs taken together, and yeah, it was a great night. So at the moment, work is good. It's busy as always, but good. And I'm in the recruiting nightmare again. I always seem to kick my ear off recruiting. So at the end of last year, there were 2 people left the team. One was voluntary, which was, you know, a loss, because the chap who left was actually, you know, really starting to do very well. And then there was one that wasn't voluntary. It was, yeah, I mean, you know, when you're glad to see the back of somebody, it didn't take that long to exit that individual. And yeah, he resigned before we dismissed him. So I'm now in the process of backfilling those guys. So I was interviewing last week on Friday, and then I'm assessing at second stage next week for one of the roles, and then probably the other one the week after. So it's always hard when you're interviewing and hiring. You're kind of making decisions on sort of fairly, not split second, but you don't know them really. And you know, ultimately we are salespeople in my industry, and if you can't sell yourself, then it's time to give up. So you often get not people who are full of it, but you know, they're salespeople, and that's all I'll say. So that's going to be next week. A few meetings out with a couple of my team, and I'm going to head to the Static next weekend, and I want to put some for sale signs up. And I also want a photo of the decking lit up, because the decking's got LED all around it, so I want to get an evening shot with it all lit up, and then see how we go with getting it sold at that point. So I know I mentioned I was selling it, but I just want to make sure that the photographs are perfect before I put them on. And you know, a couple of the shots I took are okay. They're not marvellous. I mean, I'm no David Bailey. when it comes to photography, but I just want them to be just that little bit, you know, slicker and smarter. So I've unthreaded my needle again. Oh, I'm going to trim it. I'm stitching. I found some new needles, you guys, that I'm really liking. So they are, not that you're going to be able to tell in terms of reference against anything, but if I put you my usual type of needle that I would use next to it. So I'm trying to think what that is. I think it's a John James, that one. Is it? I don't know. This is, so I've moved on to John James Petites. Is the other one a bowen? No, it's not a bowen. If it was a bowen, it would be bent. I don't know what I'd do to bowen needles. So I've moved on to the Petites. I do, these are 28s. I do have some 26s in gold, I think. I'm really liking the shorter needle. And I'm finding, I don't know how true it is, and I don't know if any of you guys have experienced it, that my thread is not twisting as much as it would with the longer needles. And I don't know whether it's like the movement of working with a longer needle actually rotates the thread more. I'm not sure if that is the case or not. But yeah, I'm finding it's knotting less and twisting less. So whether or not that's a thing, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I'm really enjoying working with these. I'm just going to back it up slightly. There we go. Hang on a minute. There we are. Is that any better? I'm just aware that I'm reaching that bottom corner of the frame, and the picture frame rather. So there you go. Now, weight loss and exercise. So I stopped doing the calorie counting. I was on MyFitnessPal. It was just very restrictive. I was finding it really hard not to stay within that amount, but to be satisfied and stay within that amount. And even if you want to eat healthily, it's quite hard to stick to 1200 calories a day. You know, I like fruit and veg and things like that, and when you work out how many calories are in a banana, you know, so I'm just going to flip this so I can tie off the back. I was just finding it hard. Plus, when I work with my team, like one of the highlights for them, you know, and like a little thing we do is I buy them lunch. Because normally for those guys, it's a sandwich on the hoof on their own. And when they're out with me, we get to sit down. You know, we don't go to expensive places. It's normally like I don't know, wherever we are, like a Holiday Inn or wherever we meet, a village hotel, that kind of thing. And, you know, you look at the menu in there and there's so little that I can actually have. So if I was to have like a wrap for lunch or something like that, that would take up probably about 600 or 700 of my calories. So by the time I've had my porridge on the morning and I've had my lunch, I've got next to nothing for my dinner. And, you know, I'm up early on the morning, so I'm up at 6, half 5, 6 on the morning, you know, going to bed 10, half 10, 11 maybe. You know, so to be doing that amount of hours with no food, basically, I was finding hard. And then to exercise. So what I've joined and been doing for the last 2 weeks is Weight Watchers. So it's the new WW. I'm doing the digital version, so I've downloaded the app and love it. So I know not a lot of you will be interested in the platform, but I have never yet used all of my points in a day because I haven't needed them. There are 200 foods that have 0 points. So basically, most of your veg, bar your really heavy carb stuff like your potatoes, parsnips and things like that. They are, you know, most of them are 0 points, bar the carby heavy ones that I've mentioned. Your fruit, 0 points. All of your protein. So for me, the Quorn meat, you know, the vegetarian alternative is 0 points. So I can make, say at lunch, I want a mushroom omelette and salad, 0 points. And I get 23 a day to use, and I can roll some of them over. So you can roll up to over 4 a day, which I have been doing every day. You're given like a surplus of 35 a week. So at the minute I've got, I think it's a high 40s sitting there that I haven't used. So I could go out and have a Billy Buster and, you know, maybe go to McDonald's or something and have a blowout and still not put weight on. So I have lost £6 since I started it. So I'd like to lose, ideally, probably about another, if I could do a stone, that would be awesome. If I don't reach the stone, I'm not that bothered. And then it counts in your activity as well. So if you wanted to exchange your exercise for more food points, you could do it. I haven't, you know, so I'm running a pretty decent deficit at the minute, and I've got another weigh-in day tomorrow. But yeah, I can really see a difference with my clothes. Like my jeans are now fitting me so much better. Like I don't have like my muffin top hanging over anymore, and I know I didn't when I was doing the you know, the calorie deficit thing, but this is so much easier. I can still eat a lot of the stuff I really like, but you know, not feel as though I'm that restricted that I can't do anything. So I'm very, very happy with that. And then continuing with the Peloton app as well. Obviously I've mentioned about getting a Peloton bike later on in the year. So yeah, all is good on that front as well. So I did a hill run last night for the first time on my treadmill, just a beginner's hill run, and that was fun because I tend not to. I'll run on an incline. Don't get me wrong, but I won't run up a hill. So that was good. So my backs of my legs and my bum are aching today. Not that you really want to know that, but yeah. So that's working out really, really well, and yeah, I feel strong, I feel healthy, and quite, you know, sort of content at the moment with how things are progressing with work and stuff I'm doing at home. So yeah, in terms of agenda, I need to shift that static. So as I said, next weekend I'll take you over with me. Actually, you can come with me to the static next weekend with Daisy, and we'll have, you know, a chill out and stitch and a catch up and things like that. And if you'd like to join us, you are more than welcome. So that's the plan, you know, assuming everything is okay. At that point, I'm going to get the for sale signs printed, and then the ad sort of prepped, ready to go, so I can insert the photos and then, you know, get some interest generated in it. And, you know, I don't mind how long it takes to sell that. If it takes all year, it doesn't matter. I'll just continue to use it until it goes. But it would be good to get rid of that sort of financial drain, and then what I'd like to do is start ploughing more money into my mortgage and getting that paid off, and, you know, more money into my work pension or a pension scheme. I'm more thinking now, and I know I'm not anywhere near retirement age, but I want to be in a position where I can retire early if I want to. You know, you hear so many sort of sad stories of people who have, you know, have worked all their life, and they get to retirement age and then they're not well enough to enjoy it, or, you know, ailments start, and you know, even for me now, you know, I know I'm not as robust I was 20 years ago. I'm just not. And, you know, in 20 years time, I'm not going to be as robust as I am now, and that is the point where I'll be, you know, I would normally be thinking of retiring. So I've probably got, what have I got, 22 years left of work. You know, if I'm to get myself to 65, that gives my age away, there you go. But, you know, I don't know whether or not I would want to still be doing that at 22 years time. I mean, I know time flies, but, you know, it would be nice to have the option, you know, to go at 60 at the latest, but be able to fund myself to do that, if you get what I mean. I don't know. And then obviously I'm thinking from the perspective of, I don't know what's around the corner, you know, whether I'll meet somebody new will come into my life. As you know, I've been single now for, 18 months. you know, I kind of have to work on the assumption that maybe I won't meet anybody. And I'll tell you what, as I've said before, if I do, it would have to be somebody who's absolutely unbelievably amazing to come into my life, because as it stands, I have a really, really lovely life, and they're going to have to bring an awful lot into my life that's on top of the good stuff I do now alone for me to even allow it. So, you know, I do therefore have to work on the assumption that I may not find Mr. Wonderful, and, you know, potentially am thinking about doing this on my own. So that's the rationale for getting rid of the static, and then, you know, just trying to get enough money behind me in whatever way that is, whether I'm mortgage free earlier and then I've got my equity in my house to do whatever it is I decide, whether I downsize or, you know, release money, who knows, you just don't know, do you? But yeah, so that's, you know, that would help. And then there's other stuff. I'm going to tie this off now and rethread. Bear with me while I flip it over. And then is stuff that, you know, I also want to do in the house this year. So I'm going to do it this week as well. And you can hold me accountable for this. I need to get hold of a surveyor. Daisy's moved. Daisy's gone to the other side. Let's hope she remains calm and relaxed. Oh, sorry, just knocked the camera. Because what I want to do, my house is an integral double garage on it, and I want to take half of it for a gym. And I've mentioned this before, I think. And I do have a gym up in my bedroom, one of my bedrooms upstairs, where it's got exercise bikes in and my treadmill and stuff like that, but I want to reclaim my bedroom. And there are already a couple of rooms I could use, and obviously I've got the one that I tend to use more at the moment, but it's a lot of them, well actually 2 of the ones I use at the minute have 3 outside walls, and that makes them cold. You know, it makes them really cold. So the one that I've got my eye on has only 1, which is the one with a window in it. So I would like to make that my winter bedroom, if you get what I mean, because it'll be a little bit warmer in there, because the bedroom that I'm in is actually over my double garage, and although it's well insulated, it can be still really cold. You know, on a morning when I go and put my heating on, the temperature in there can have dropped significantly. So I want to do that, and obviously I'll involve you in that process as that happens, as well as I did a little bit with the kitchen. And then I want to landscape the garden out the back here, obviously get rid of the window that is still lurking, and yeah, I just want to make it, you know, because obviously I did the kitchen and put the bifolds, and I just want to make it a really nice area to look out onto, and just, you know, invest some time in that. And that's the plan for this year for the house, and obviously do a bit more decoration throughout. I mean, I did the kitchen and the living room last year, and obviously the kitchen was quite a big event as we knocked through from the kitchen into the dining room. So, you know, that was the big job in the house. There's never going to be anything on that scale again, thankfully. So, you know, I feel now I'm ready to go again and have a look at doing something else. So that is the plan. So I do need to ring a surveyor. I'm going to have to find one and just get some council plans through. I don't know how long it'll take to get planning permission to do a garage conversion. It could take months, it might take, you know, a matter of a few weeks. But we will see. We will see. So that is a plan. I have no idea how long I've been going here. Have I done 20 minutes? I think I have. I think it's been about 20 minutes. It could be longer. Feels I've been talking for hours. I don't know. I mean, that's all my like lifey gossip. don't know what else to tell you. In terms of stitching, I've worked for the last week on the chatelaine and eventually just had to take it off the stand because otherwise it's all I would have done this month. And as I said, I do want to work on Persephone. I also need to get the steam heart out, the full coverage Heaven and Earth, and that will get, you know, the latter part of the time, because we're on the 17th already, aren't we? I mean, before we know it, what, in 11 days it's the end of the month. It's a short month, February, so my monthly update will be coming faster than we know it, and I will have nothing to show you. Well, that's a lie, but you know, I want to make sure I've got some decent progress. So next weekend, I'm trying to think what will be coming across to the static with me, because obviously the full coverage won't. So the Heaven and Earth won't be coming, the chatelaine won't, and it's because of the frame I'll be working on. It's tricky over at the caravan to do that. So Persephone will come. I've worked on Santa this month, so whether or not I bring him or I do a small new start, maybe. Thinking maybe, what about a gorgeous girl or something like that? I could maybe do a gorgeous girl. I was thinking of sort of doing a kit review for that. I've stitched one before, but the kits have improved quite a lot since I last stitched one. So I was thinking of maybe doing that and starting a gorgeous girl, you know, a little new start. Not that I haven't had a big new start this month, but you know. We will see. We will see. I do have a tag. I might just stop the video for a moment. I made a coffee and I've left it on the other side of the room, so I'm going to go and get it, and then I have just like a little light-hearted tag that we could just have a run through if you'd like to stay a little bit longer, because in terms of life update I've got nothing else for you. I did bump into a friend yesterday. God, so it's one of the surgeons I used to work with in my old job. He's a lovely guy, and I bumped into him because he lives quite near me, and with his dog, and his dog is an 18-month-old Springer Spaniel who was so well behaved compared to Daisy. So Daisy, when we're on a walk, doesn't like to be interrupted. She likes to do her walk. She likes to greet and scream at everything that comes her way. So people, dogs, kids, she wants fuss from. So she'll start sort of doing a squeaky monkey sound when she's about 10 yards away from them, starts pulling on the lead and is desperate to be made a fuss of. And some people will look at her as though she's stupid, and some people will obviously want to make a fuss of her because she's cute. So I usually get a fairly mixed reception when it comes to Daisy's behaviour. So anyway, I bump into this chap I know, and we're sort of having a bit of a... Sorry, I've missed my... I think I've missed my stitch, or I've done something strange. Yeah, there it is. So I'm with this chap, and we're talking, and then Daisy starts to create, like she's screaming. And you know when it just reminds you, you know when you're in a supermarket and you see that naughty kid having a tantrum in the middle of the aisle because its mother won't buy it toys? That's how I felt with Daisy yesterday. She was so flipping naughty. And then obviously this guy's dog is like younger than Daisy, but it's behaving itself, and lovely dog, just, you know, going with the flow. And Daisy's jumping up and down like she's on a pogo stick. I end up having to pick her up in my arms like a baby because she's just screaming on the floor, demanding attention. And then I pick her up and she's still whining and howling. And you know, you think, what do I do with her when she does that? I don't know. But you know, when you're kind of borderline horrified and you're desperate to get away but this person wants to like engage you in conversation, and all you want to do is just take your naughty dog away. I can just imagine how those women feel now with kids who have temper tantrums in shopping aisles, because I felt exactly the same way with Daisy. And you know, you think, oh my God, spoilt brat. That's how I felt about Daisy yesterday. So yeah, she embarrassed me in front of an old friend, which, you know, you don't want, do you? So I meant to tell you, listening to a really good audio book at the moment. So I don't know whether you've read or, you know, anybody's listened to a book called This Is Going to Hurt. And it's basically, I'm just rethreading my needle, the kind of memoirs of a junior doctor. And this chap eventually just didn't practice anymore, and I haven't got to like the bottom end of it, but basically he doesn't practice, and he's now not on the GMC, which is our General Medical Council register where any practicing doctor's registered to. So I am listening to some of the stories that he's got on there, and I don't know whether it's because obviously I was a nurse in the past. Like, it's just funny, and it reminds me so much of my nursing days, listening to the memoirs, because I've experienced a lot of what he has within that, you know, from what patients present with, you know, the types of patients, you know, some of the funny stories. I would highly recommend it, even if you've not, you know, ever worked in the medical profession. I think it puts a whole different slant on hospitals, and it'll give you a bit of an insight into some of the things that have happened. But yeah, it's called This Is Not Going to Hurt. I can't remember the name of the author. Is it Adam? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't go under his own name anyway, but it's definitely worth a read or a listen to. I would highly recommend it. So with that said, I am going to go and get my coffee and pause this a moment, because I'm just trying to think how many minutes in I am. I'm only 26, and some people like a longer stitch with me, don't they? So if you've had enough at this point, you know, feel free to switch off, because I've given you all my life update and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just going to answer a few questions out of this little tag I've got, if you'd like to stick around a little bit longer. So I will be back in a wee mo. I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Right, I'm back. Yeah, just had a quick drink, and yeah, I'll just put my, oh gosh, Daisy's shuffling her bum around. Where are you going? Let's get yourself comfy, missus. So the first question I have on my tag is, when is your birthday? So it's not that far away, actually, my birthday. It is the 14th of March. So I've taken that day off plus the Friday, because it falls on a Thursday, my birthday this year. So I've taken the days off. I need to speak to my manager about this. The reason I've done that is ever since I've joined the company I work for, they hold a spring managers meeting on my birthday. Every time it's been the 14th, and I don't know why people haven't twigged yet that for the last 3 years, and this will be the 4th year, they've sang happy birthday to me. And you would think, wouldn't you, that somebody would make a connection and think, oh, maybe Lisa wouldn't want to have a birthday here with us this year. Maybe she'd like to spend it with her family and friends. No, but it's never even occurred to anybody that they could swap the date to the 15th or the 16th. And I don't know what difference it could possibly make. So it's tracked my birthday every year. And next year, because my birthday will then be on a Friday, it will hit again. So my only saving grace is that in 2 years' time, they'll not be able to use my birthday anymore, because it'll fall on a Saturday and a Sunday. So I have no idea why. So yeah, I've actually booked it. I booked the holiday last year thinking, right, if you do it again, I'm not flipping coming. So obviously I just need to remind my manager that I'm not there, and obviously if she's like mad keen that I am there, you know, obviously I would go. But you know, I'm just going to tell her we've booked a weekend away in Rome, which I haven't. I'm just going to have a chill out here and have an extra long weekend. But yeah, it's not ideal. So I don't think it will ever change. So we'll then get back into, after the weekend where they can't use my birthday, it'll probably start again. So there's no rhyme or reason for it, but yeah, so my birthday is the 14th of March, which is our spring managers meeting date. Wonderful. Another question is, are you addicted to YouTube? Yes, I am addicted. I know, what is it? I don't know what the stand up and say, I am an addict. I am addicted to YouTube. I am, yeah. There's so many different things that I'm subscribed to. So obviously a lot of FlossTube. I don't watch as much FlossTube as I used to, because I have so many interests that I couldn't possibly watch everybody. So I watch the people who I started pretty much off with, and I watch those guys regularly, and then every now and again I'll come across somebody new who I will subscribe to, add in, and then watch, you know, when they ad hocly upload. I don't get to watch everybody's uploads. Some people are more frequent than others. You know, I don't feel as though I make enough stitchy progress to be able to upload weekly progress, but I do like to do different things in terms of my content. So I like to do vlog types. I don't think there's many FlossTubers who do the vlogs, so that is a little bit of something that I do that's different. I mean, a lot of it revolves around crafts and stitching, but still, I mean, and I like them, you know, I'm nosy. I'm so nosy, and I love to see into people's lives. So that's another element of the type of things that I watch. So I like to watch, oh gosh, any craft thing anyway. So I'm subscribed to different artists. I'm subscribed to people who make cards, colouring, what else, jewellery, all sorts of different stuff. I tend not to watch a lot of those at the minute because I haven't done very much in the way of making jewellery for a while, and that's something that I do need to start doing a lot more of, is the, you know, the card making and the jewellery type stuff. I do want to expand into that, but you know, it is finding time, isn't it, to fit everything in, and at the moment I can't get enough of cross stitch. I don't know what it is, but I'm just so loving it at the moment. And then I also subscribe to a lot of like fashion vloggers, you know, vloggers who sort of do home stuff, beauty stuff. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even begin to tell you. I sometimes find I don't watch TV because I'm watching YouTube, if that makes any sense. And yeah, I just love it. Fitness stuff, you name it, I kind of watch. So there's just so much variety. But yeah, I am absolutely addicted to it. I think it's a wonderful platform, and I thoroughly enjoy being part of, you know, the community and what we do. And yeah, I think it's great that people get to sort of upload, you know, insights into them and what they're interested in. Oh, and I think it's just great. Let me just mark this off because I need to do a bit of counting in a minute. Hang on a minute, I've just marked my chart in a way I didn't want to. Bear with me. We're now getting into a bit more of a county section where I need to think. Right, next question. Do you like your name? Yeah, it's alright as far as names go. I'm just tying this off in the back. It's okay. My mum gave it to me, so, you know, she thought, right, I won't give her a long name, that can be abbreviated. But it gets abbreviated to Lise. So often I get called Lise by close friends, family, that kind of thing. So even a 4-letter name you can abbreviate. So yeah, Lise I tend to get more of than most things. And then the next question is, if you had the choice to pick your own name, what would it be? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Just, I don't know, maybe something a little, maybe a bit more interesting. Not that Lisa's not, but it's like a shortened version. So it's like a shortened version of Elizabeth, isn't it? So, you know, it's kind of a bit of that name. But then I wouldn't want to get Lizzie, I don't think, necessarily. I have a friend who, you know, we call Lizzie. She hates it. She's a Liz, but we call her Lizzie just to torment her, and she hates it. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think. You sort of thinking, and every name you could potentially like shorten a bit, couldn't you? And then I have to sort of think in my age group as well. Like I couldn't call myself something like Young. Not that I'd want to call myself something like, I don't know, Chelsea or something like that, or Chardonnay. Something I wouldn't. I don't know what else I would be. I mean, I do know that if I was going to be born a boy, if I would have been born a boy, my name would have been Lee. And then obviously I got Lisa for a girl, so I don't know whether that has any bearing on, you know, anything, but that's what my parents would have called me. They were actually, do you know what they were going to call me Teresa. So they were going to nickname me they would not nickname me, call me Teresa. So that was their other choice, which I actually don't mind. I quite like it. You know, if it was like, there's nothing wrong with Teresa. I quite like it. But then they didn't call me it because, you know, people would say Teresa Green. Not that my surname's Green, but, you know, like, just joking. But yeah, I mean, Teresa's a nice name, so I mean, I would have been happy with that. But then I would have probably got Terry, which I wouldn't have really minded. I quite like the names that you can, you know, change to like a masculine version. So maybe like something like Charlotte would have been nice. And then I would have got Charlie. You know, something I would have liked that, but then Charlotte wasn't an in name when I was younger, so I would have never have got called that. So yeah, I mean, my middle name's Dawn, which I just find it's a weird name for me. You know, it's not a weird name for me, but I just find it a bit of a strange name. It's time of the day, not a name, is it? So yeah, I find my middle name more strange than my first name, but I don't know, maybe something that you could change to be, you know, like a masculine name, like Charlotte to Charlie or something like that. I would probably like that, but, you know, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to change my name by Deedpool or anything, am I? So I'm stuck with that. But it's not a bad name to be stuck with. Let's have a look. Do you wear makeup? Yes. For work I do. On a weekend I tend not to. I mean, you've seen me quite barefaced sometimes, haven't you? I'm trying to work out how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just need to be aware of where I am. So you've seen me barefaced. On a weekend I tend not to, you know, spend hours, not that I spend hours on my hair, but like do my hair and my face properly, because I do it for work, and it's just nice to have that bit of a breather on a weekend where, you know, I can be that bit more casual and relax a bit more so than I can when I'm at work, because obviously it's a person-to-person facing job, and obviously an expectation is that we're quite smart for our job, you know, in terms of the professional level of it. So, you know, it's nice sometimes to just kick back and put flat shoes on, not my heels, and, you know, dresses and skirts and trousers and stuff. You know, I'm more of a loungewear kind of girl. Right, let me just count these stitches and just check where I am. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4 until the end. And I am, and I need to miss one. I'm going to introduce a new colour in there later. I love working on this, you know. I hadn't worked in a mirror in a while. And this has sort of brought out my passion for them. Let me just mark these off, and then I'll be back with you to answer another question. Oh, hang on. There isn't another one there. I'm putting in a stitch that doesn't exist. Back it out. There's only one of them. I'm going to mark them, and then I think we get to a bit of a run now. That should be a little bit easier. Excuse me. Right, and then we're going to clip in there and stitch across, and then there's nothing. Nope. There we are. Must be starting to blend into a different thing. I am going to stitch her skin 2/1, I've already decided, in the same way that I did Lily, so she's going to go exactly the same way. I may show you, people have asked me to show. I'm not an expert on it, I've only done it once, but again, I'm more than happy to show you how I did it the last time. So I will potentially do an upload on that at some point as well. As when I get to a skin, I'm sort of plotting around that at the minute, and then I'll come and do some in a wee while. There's still quite a lot of her dress to stitch, so you know, I'm going to stick with that for now. Where are we? If you could write a book, what would be the title and what would it be about? So I did think about writing a wee while ago. I was going to write a kids book. It would probably be a kids type one. I did really well at English language during my GCSEs, and wrote, as part of the projects that we were doing, a couple of really short, like novel type things based on themes that we were given to write about, that was submitted for my coursework. And at the time, this was like back in GCSE times, so I was like 16. My teacher at the time said, you know, you should think about writing. And there's been a couple of times in my life where I've thought I might. I did join like a literacy course and a while back, and then just through whatever was going on in my life at the time, that sort of dwindled and I didn't get it finished. But I would like to write. But you know, my first thoughts was a children's type book, a bit of an adventure kids book. But who knows, maybe I'll write up my memoirs one day of being a people manager, because some of the things that I've experienced with people over the years will make people's hair stand on end, and also be funny, be sad. Do you know what I mean? It's everything in one. Maybe I'll do that, because in 10 years of being a first line manager, and obviously a second line manager within that as well, but having people reporting to me and dealing with individuals, my goodness, you don't know people until you manage them, and they do the most random, peculiar things ever, whether that's under pressure, just because they don't know any other way to do what they're doing. It's bizarre. People are quite bizarre, and they just are. Do you know what I mean? Even the ones that you think, you know what, actually I think you've got it together and you're doing okay, will at some point throw in something so random that all you can do is just take a bit of a step back and just think, wow, really? I've seen really corrupt behaviour. I've seen deception on such levels of deviousness, particularly not in the role I'm doing now, but in a previous role. Deception, lies, like fraudulent behaviour. You know, people can be so greedy and self-serving, and yeah, that's what I want to say. And then people can be so genuine and wonderful, and you know, sometimes do things just out of naivety rather than any desire to be, you know, a bad person. You know, there's just every spectrum, and yeah, the more I see and do this job, it sounds bad, but the more I distrust people, which is probably one of the reasons why I'm quite happy to be on my own. It's funny. It's funny, isn't it? People are funny. Right, what's the next question on here? What are your 3 favourite snacks? So, I'm a chocolate savoury girl. So I like, say, dairy milk chocolate is one of my things. I love like just plain dairy milk chocolate. It's made by Cadbury's. If you don't live in the UK and you've not had it, oh gosh, there's no other chocolate like it. You know, I don't like Galaxy chocolate. I hate Galaxy chocolate. It's far too sweet. I don't like white chocolate. Dark is okay, but it's not my first choice because I like the milk chocolate. If you ever have the opportunity and you've never had Cadbury's milk chocolate, then you definitely should. It's amazing. So that is my sort of sweet treat. And then it's crisps. I love any type of crisps. And nuts. That would be my third. Just that type of thing. So it depends what kind of mood I'm in. I also love cheese. So maybe I'll throw cheese in. Maybe I'll throw crisps in and then cheese. So on my points thing I'm doing, my Weight Watchers thing, a mini light, so low fat Baby Bell is worth a point. So I will, on an evening now before, you know, as I'm getting ready for bed and Daisy's going out for a last wee and I'm kind of, you know, preparing to lock up, I will, you know, down a mini Baby Bell, and I just find it, you know, a little bit satisfying before I go to bed. So that's what I'm able to eat at the minute, because obviously crisps are a bit of a no-no, so I'm eating like rice cakey things at the minute as an alternative, and obviously the chocolate is not featuring at the minute because I can't really have that, although they do have like Weight Watchers chocolatey bars and things which, you know, I can have occasionally and I have been. So but they would be like my norm, which is where a lot of the, not calories, but like, I'm just going to flip over and fasten it off, extra calories come on, because I'm a bit of like a picker on an evening. So, you know, I'll have my dinner and stuff and be chilled out, and then I'll think, you know, I'm a little bit peckish here, maybe I could fancy some crisps. And then I'll think my way into thinking I need crisps, and then I'll obviously then start on them. And then before I know it, I've eaten a full pack of Share crisps, you know, which is not great. So that is my probably biggest problem. Right, what are your 3 favourite foods? Oh gosh, it's unhealthy food. So you would be talking pizza, you would be talking Indian curries or curries of some nature, and Thai food would be my thing. So all 3 equally as bad, and yeah, something that I have to limit. So I can't remember the last time I had a takeaway actually, because I used to be a bit of particularly over the summer of last year, a bit of a nightmare for ordering Domino's pizzas, and then like the deals like you can get on the stuffed crusts in the UK, are far better than any of the other size. So I used to get like a large stuffed crust pizza and eat it over 2 nights, which that's a lot of pizza, guys. And it's not, I'm just moving this a little bit, it's not good for you, so don't do it. So yeah, I found I was doing that, and then the second night not enjoying it so much, because it's not as nice the second night, is it? I mean, pizza's marvellous when it comes through the door and it's nice and warm, and it's not so good the second night. But yeah, I've knocked that on the head months ago, so I don't buy it, I don't eat it really now. And yeah, I've just had to cut it out, because those 3 types of foods alone would like do me in, really. But I do like that type of food. Maybe not so much Chinese type food, but that could just be that my experiences of that type of food have not been that good in the UK. Chinese takeaways in the UK tend to be packed full of MSG, monosodium glutamate, which is like really salty and is not very good for you at all. So they tend to be not the best in terms of healthy options here in the UK, but it could be just my local Chinese takeaways not amazing. Daisy's on the move. Luckily we're just about finished. She's starting to get restless. Don't! She's gonna, oh Days, do you know, honestly, sorry guys. Right, go on then, settle down. Oh. She's decided she wants to get down the side again, and obviously I'd put all my stuff there because she was on the other side. It wants 10 random facts about me, but I don't think I'm going to give you 10. So I'll give you a few. If we get to 10, we get to 10. If we don't, we don't. So for those of you who don't know, I am a qualified hypnotherapist. I did my training a couple of years ago here in the UK over a period of a year. I've only practiced a couple of times, recently on a family friend who was suffering from anxiety. But you know, I can do smoking cessation, weight loss. I should hypnotise myself for weight loss, shouldn't I? But it doesn't work like that. Yeah, I can do all different aspects of hypnotherapy that you can think of, hypnobirthing, you name it. I am, qualified to do it. I have hypnotised most of my family in various degrees, different techniques on each one. My ex got quite a lot. He was doing some exams at the time, and I used to do a lot of relaxation and visualisation with him. I have past life regressed all of my immediate family, which was really, really interesting. If you've ever sort of seen or had a past life regression done, it's fascinating. So I recorded them all for them on their mobile phone so they could go away and have a listen. But yeah, some of the stuff was unbelievable. And then when we went back and researched some of the things that they were talking about that they'd experienced, it had actually happened. And they couldn't have known about some of the detail in it. It was just, honestly, that was the thing for me. So I was a bit sceptical while I was going through the training, because I found it very hard to relax and be hypnotised. And I was thinking, and I think it was just something within me that was just not allowing it. I'm thinking, gosh, I just don't really think that people do get hypnotised. And then when I did the past life regressions, that was one of the things that really changed my mind for me. And I thought, yeah, and you know what, this isn't the mumbo jumbo. I'm sort of thinking, 3 months into the training, actually, do you know what, this is quite genuine. And it just changed my mind, and then opened me up to look into a lot more about the human mind and psychology and the brain and how it works. And honestly, fascinating. So if you didn't know that, there's something about me. Sorry, my memory card was full. I had to sort it. I've just noticed there's only about 10 minutes left on my battery as well, so it's just as well we're almost finished. I'm also a qualified florist, for those who don't know. So while I was deciding what I was going to do with my life, I think I've told you this before, I was working as a Saturday girl and a florist, and this is when I was sort of torn between nursing and teaching. and the guy who I was working for at the time said, well, why don't you come and run one of the shops for me, which I did. And during that time did my MVQ 1, 2 and 3 and became a qualified florist. So if anybody needs a bridal bouquet or any type of tribute, I'm your gal. No, I don't do it. I mean, I can do, but I mean, that was just another outlet for creativity for me, I think, because obviously, as you know, Crafty Lisa, I do all sorts of different types of things. I play the piano and the clarinet. Not that I've done so in a long time, but I do. I have sat Royal College of Music exams in both, so I've sat both at grade 3 for clarinet and piano, so I was on to my grade 4 in both of them. So I passed my clarinet exam with distinction, and then I passed my piano exam. So yeah, I sort of really am interested in music. I did try the violin once, but anything with strings, no. Can't do the guitar, can't do the violin. I did really try with both, but no, I'm so much better on with the piano and the clarinet. I also can play the flute, but again, I haven't played the flute in a number of years, and I didn't sit any exams for that. But yeah, I was quite decent when it came to the flute, but I much prefer the clarinet. Haven't seen my clarinet for ages. It's in its box. I really need to get that out and sort of oil it back up and play on it again, because I do miss the music, but it's fitting it in, isn't it? I work full time and then some. I have hobbies and interests. Honestly, there's just not enough hours in the day for me in terms of what I'd love to do. I'd love to take some time out to do some hypnotherapy, maybe do a bit of work on that, play some more music. I want to start drawing, as you know from my vlog last week. Honestly, people say to me, oh gosh, I don't want to retire, I'd be bored. I could never be bored. I still don't think even if I retired there'd be enough hours in the day to do everything I'd love to do in life. Yeah, I just try to fit as much as I can in, and yeah, it doesn't always work. But on that note, I am going to love you and leave you, and yeah, my parents should be ringing anytime soon now to head for that walk, so I'm gonna go and do a couple of jobs in the house and finish this thread off, get this uploaded in a way. I hope it's not been too boring for you. It was more on the hoof really than usual. I just kind of grabbed this quick tag this morning and just answered a few questions there, but yeah, I'm normally a bit more prepared for this, but you get a bit more of an on the hoof stitch with me anyway, and you get to see Persephone a little bit as well, so that's not a bad thing, is it? But I will probably see you during the week at some point, and then, as I said, I will take you across the East Coast should I get there at the weekend, and you can sort of spend the weekend with me and Daisy the naughty girl who embarrasses me in public. But anyway, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your comments, liking the stuff I do. Thank you for subscribing to me. I really appreciate it so much, and yeah, it's just me sharing the stuff I love to do really, and there's so many people out there, so many kindred spirits, isn't there, who enjoy so many different types of crafts. So with that said, I will catch you soon, and yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.